I want to get better with Jamila Jamil's an 8-part documentary series on Snapchat of all places. The app you go on for clickbait drama articles in which the drama never actually happened, weird Mr. Beast inspired Photoshop thumbnails where everything looks like an AI image of botched plastic surgery, and videos with this visual style that is just a little bit off of epilepsy inducing. The worst thing about it is it works, and there's probably some people still watching this video because I open with this editing style that forces your eyes to look at every part of the screen so you don't fall asleep even though it's 3 in the morning and you have to be awake in 4 hours. You can't put your phone down since this is basically modern hypnotism.
That's better. A documentary is the polar opposite of the kind of stuff that should be going on Snapchat, let alone be a Snapchat original, which I had no idea even existed because it's the stupidest idea ever. Nobody has ever gone onto this app with the sole purpose of discovering a new show or whatever you'd class these. I only ever go on here to send weird photos to my girlfriend, but a lot of the times I get suckered into the Discover page because of almost naked people. If there's skin, I'm in. It's all just clickbait and short clips to start the dopamine drip, which is something you can't really do with a documentary, and especially one about mental health. Not really a catchy subject. I stroke horses to deal with my autism isn't quite as appealing as why Messi never touches a woman. Something you should know is this isn't actually one of the thumbnails for the documentary, and that's because I couldn't find any. I subscribed to this a couple of months back with the intention of doing a video on it, and I'm glad I did, because Snapchat almost erased the series from existence like it was an underage dick pic being sent over Snapchat. I scrolled through the Discover page and got nothing. I typed original series and got nothing. You either have to know the show's name or go to manage your subscriptions where you find out you're somehow subbed to Conan O'Brien. But once you finally find the show, you can sit back and really enjoy the insightful things it has to offer you.
The truth is, I was desperately lonely.
I am the rock.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with more than just narcissism here.
Renfield.
This is the worst reason for having a documentary about mental health on Snapchat. They're talking about suicide in this segment. That's not an appropriate advert. A comedy film about an immortal being is quite far from the dark story of someone who is very clearly immortal. The advert comes in with such confidence, it's almost like it thinks it's the cure. It's like if someone was talking about their eating disorder, then in the middle of their sentence,
Buy the all-new endless bucket of scrap meats, chocked full of tasty morsels that we grabbed from the bins of a restaurant. That's why it's cheaper than vegetables. Now get eating before it's colder than it already is. Scrappies, we don't care.
Snapchat pretty much did this. In the middle of a conversation about having an eating disorder and binge eating until it's physically painful, they chose to show an advert for Just Eat. Even fucking Deliveroo would have been better because Just Eat is an instruction for them. I refuse to believe that it's a coincidence the eating disorder episode had a food delivery ad in it, because none of the other episodes had one, and this had 2 of them. I found myself fascinated with the adverts in this show because they were very specific with their placements. You would always have 3 adverts per episode, and they'd all appear before the halfway mark or just a little bit after it, which is really quite insensitive when you find out how the episodes are structured. Each mini documentary is separated into halves, with the first part being all the depressing shit people have lived through, and then the second half is all the happy ways people have been able to deal with their problems, like playing basketball. That's when you should be advertising Coca-Cola. They've been doing sport and are probably gagging for some fizzy brown sugar water to give them a boost, making it appropriate. Or at least it's better than doing it immediately after them talking about having a panic attack.
Coca-Cola fixes all problems. You can be happy like her. Drink it today. Coca-Cola is not healthy and excessive drinking causes diabetes.
Advertising like this is the worst thing in the world for a documentary as it completely destroys its impact. It's totally fine inserting them into a compilation of people dancing because it just acts as another clip, but for something long format it just ruins it because the flow gets interrupted. I'm watching an episode about a fire dancer and she's talking about her trauma and what she's had to go through.
Do you get the fear of being caught looking at indecent images of children?
I've gone from empathetically listening to someone's troubled life to accused of being a pedo. I then listened to this guy about how hard it is being trans and the struggles they have to.
Where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you.
It's an emotional roller coaster watching this show. I feel like I need to dance along with all the jolly gum chewers. Oh, it's finished. Now we're back to the sad stuff. Audience attention spans are like springs. The spring is slowly compressed as the audience becomes more engaged with the story, and if there's something too jarring, then the spring is released. An advert is just releasing the spring prematurely, and everyone knows if it goes off prematurely, then you've disappointed your girlfriend. So how do regular TV shows do it? Not disappoint my girlfriend. How do they do adverts? They give you a cliffhanger, so the tension isn't released. Storage Hunters is a prime example of this, where trashy English people stand in the cold rain bidding on mysterious shit. One of the gross white people wins the bid, and they start to explore the dirty container, when suddenly they find something under a sheet.
What is it? What is it?
You've got to come and look at this.
It's often something underwhelming in the containers, but it doesn't really matter because it's already tricked you to stay around by promising something big. It works because you are told to keep the tension since you know there'll be a payoff for doing so. You've essentially been told to keep that spring compressed, and now the adverts are just edging you. Then finally, when the show returns, the spring can be released. It then starts to compress that spring again by introducing a new container with more mysterious goodies. You can't do that with Snapchat's interrupting ads because there is no payoff for watching them except what you were already watching, so it's seen mostly as an annoyance rather than a tease. Also, there's nothing interesting about the show anyway. It never explores deeply into the subject, so you just get a surface level look at people that have suffered, and I can get that from reading people's revealing tweets. In episode 5, the host speaks with this girl who was diagnosed with autism, which they briefly speak about, then they go off to stroke horses and dick around. Who is this for? Almost 40% of Snapchat's user base are in the age range of 18 to 24 because this is still the best platform for sending your nudes. But the people who are sending their dick pics aren't going to care about this show because we're all chronically online and these are the kind of issues we hear about on a daily basis. The second largest demographic is the under 18s, making up for 20% of the user base. And while they're probably less likely to know about all these issues, they're probably still not going to watch this documentary because of the whole attention span thing. Kids can't concentrate on a documentary that has constant ad breaks because their brains have rotted away from TikTok's slot machine design of drip feeding videos. Now see an advert, instinctively swipe up, then realise they're on Snapchat and go onto TikTok to watch someone play Subway Surfers while also telling a harrowing story. Okay, what about the rest of the user base, the 25 and up? Well, the older we go, the more likely we are to find someone who doesn't know about, say, the problems trans people face, because old people typically didn't grow up around trans stuff. So maybe they'll be able to learn from this documentary. But let's be honest here, the oldies that use Snapchat are probably quite progressive, and the dusty old crackers that could learn from this are either on Facebook or aren't on anything at all and just yell their horrible thoughts out the window instead of typing them into a group. Okay, what about the next demographic? Jamila Jamils. Every year, tens of people are stung, then killed by bees.
I was making a peanut butter and bacon sandwich when all of a sudden a bee flew into the room. I panicked and tried swinging at the bee, but ended up stabbing myself in the leg. My dog, smelling the peanut butter and bacon, bit me and ripped it off. I had to get my leg removed because peanut butter got into my bloodstream, leaving me with this prosthetic.
But not everyone is so lucky. Be careful around bees. I did some research into the host and I noticed she's been wrapped up in some controversies where people have complained about her making herself the centre of attention. Well, her name is plastered across this mini-series. I want to get better with Jamila Jamil. And she does talk about herself a lot throughout. Suicidal thoughts, panic attacks, eating disorders. Seems like she's had trouble with everything. I then came across a story about an ex-Vice journalist calling Jamila out for faking illnesses and a Twitter row with Piers Morgan who said she has Munchausen syndrome. Okay, I think we found out who this show is for. It's all just an attention-seeking ploy for the host who fakes her illnesses and injuries to get attention. Case closed. Except that's not true and all her illnesses and injuries have been corroborated, including 2 separate occasions where she has run into traffic while being chased by bees. She talks about these accusations in one of the episodes and yeah, she's been through some shit. Like the stuff with the bees that fucking happened twice. She seems like a nice person whose heart is in the right place, which isn't really a very dramatic conclusion to round off this video.
Oh cool, it's my turn to advertise. Feel free to subscribe.
The truth is that this show isn't really made for anyone, and that's why less than 6,000 people have subscribed to it. A lot of money has been spent on this show since they have 22 members of staff and they also use another company for all their graphics. This is a massive flop, but it doesn't really matter. It's just content for the sake of content, which is the majority of stuff coming from big corporations. Some higher up in a room probably said, let's make a show about mental health because it's trending. And it was easier to make the series than it was to face the consequences of going against them by saying, why would anyone watch that show on this awful platform? And that's how you get a Snapchat original series that nobody has watched.